Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Two Men One Beard.
Two digits now. Two digits.
We've made it to episode 10. At the moment, we're not famous. I'm a bit upset. But, episode 10, we've actually done 10 whole sessions of sitting down and talking crap. How have you found it? How's the first 10 been for you?
To be honest, I don't do a lot of the legwork. Fortunately, I don't do a lot of the
Who does that?
Myself.
So you don't do it, but you did it.
Yeah, my wonderful co-host Munu is the, I guess, main project leader.
Well, I just put the music together and it doesn't sound very good.
Well, GTA music. I actually had a listen in to the to one of the episodes, and the intro always makes me laugh. The intro music, I don't know why. It just reminds me of GTA.
It's because it's part of the free music that you can get, and it literally called GTA 5 style intro music. Yeah. It was probably the best thing I could find, because a lot of that stuff is like weird space age stuff. So
yeah. Because I when I first listened to it, so in my mind I was expecting an introduction from us. So like, hello guys, whatever. Yeah. But then the music started playing, I was like, wait, what the hell? Because obviously when we record it, we don't hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you listened to any of our episodes?
Not fully. I listened to it to check that the audio is at an acceptable standard. I think the people listening right now are probably thinking, oh, you guys have echoey sound for your first 4 episodes or whatever. That's because it was all shot in one day in a room that echoes a little bit. I think this room might be a bit better. We haven't fully tested the capabilities of this room.
Yeah, I think it's because it's a lot more empty. The previous room.
This one has a lot more crap. But yeah, I haven't fully listened to it, just making sure the audio is okay. So I'd basically go every 30 seconds and just listen to a second of audio and just go through to make sure it's all right. Because obviously there's parts where I think there might be some background noise. Like I think a few episodes ago we had was it a saw or something, like out in my back garden area. There was like some weird tool being used.
Oh, okay.
And you could hear it, but it wasn't annoying. But yeah, I haven't fully listened to it, mainly because I hate the sound of my voice.
Same. Like, it's interesting how when you talk and you play it back to you, to yourself, you sound completely different from what you expect you sound like. But to other people, that's what you sound like. So to them, it's fine.
Growing up, especially after hitting puberty, a lot of people told me, "Oh yeah, you got a good deep voice." In my brain, my voice is a little higher than I think people perceive it. So like, in my head, I'm like, I'm not actually that deep voiced. But then there are points where I think, okay, I can sing the blues.
Well, for me, it's different. Mine's like mine's the opposite. So when I hear my voice, it's really high pitched. Well, higher pitched than what I hear when I speak.
Yeah.
Now you made me aware. Hello guys. Maybe
just keep your voice nice and low.
You could be a voice actor.
All right, so we're filming this like 5 days after we filmed episode 8 and 9. So it's not been a full week. But how has your past 5 days been?
5 days. When does that go up to?
So Saturday till now.
I just had a relaxing weekend. I just didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I can't remember what I did.
I think I was supposed to. So my brother was supposed to come, but he is not free. And then on Sunday I just went. I had to do loads of errands.
I thought you were about to say you went to church. I thought you were going to pretend you were a church goer for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm a church goer.
Now, what did I do this weekend? It was Pakistan v India cricket match. Pakistan won, so that's a plus. I think I just relaxed on can't remember what day the cricket was now.
Sunday, Saturday, Monday.
It must have. No, it was Sunday, the cricket match. So Saturday I relaxed, watched a couple films, caught up with a few episodes of TV. But yeah, obviously we hung out on Monday. What did we hang out for, JB?
We went to a annual fair in Oxford.
St. Giles.
Yeah, St. Giles. It's just a bunch of rides and games, I guess. Is that what they're called? Like
fairground games.
Yeah, games and food, pretty much. Would you like to say what games did we partake in?
So I'm trying to remember the order. So what the first game was it?
It was you.
Was it me? Was it the duck? No, it would have been the ball game.
Yeah, the one where you won.
Yeah, so essentially I was waiting for a turn on this, like, what would you call it? So there used to be a game that I remember having in primary school where you have to try and get a metal sort of hoop across a metal, like, rod, and then if you touch the metal bit, it beeps. Right, so in the fairground they have a different one that is a cheat. It moves, it rotates.
I have a story about that actually.
Go.
So when me and my brothers were younger, we had so I can't remember where exactly it came from, but someone gave us a gift, and it was the exact same thing. I don't know what it's called. Maybe have a look what it's called. And so. It's like a mini version, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this special version, right? There's a button, and that button pretty much is once you press it. So instead of just making a noise and lighting up when you touch the metal track, I guess. This one it electrocutes you, right? It electrocutes the person using it.
Okay.
That
makes it more interesting.
Yeah. But there's this button, and on that button, it electrocutes the person regardless, even though it doesn't touch him. It just electrocutes it, right? So me and my brothers would scare each other by grabbing it, pressing that button, and then trying to get contact with my brothers. I think it was just the handle of the rod or whatever they use. Yeah. And I just remember just playing around with that because I remember, to be honest, it was just a weird feeling getting electrocuted. I think it was just have you ever been electrocuted?
Well, not fully.
Yeah.
But I used to have a pen that if you press the top of it, it will electrocute you.
Yeah.
Obviously, stupidly, I tested it out before I used it and I electrocuted myself. But I got a lot of people with that. I don't even remember in school we used to have this Asian teaching assistant.
On what lesson?
I think humanities. He's now a tailor.
I'm not sure.
But basically, so I got him to write something for me. I think he actually asked for a pen, so I thought this is my chance, and so I grabbed the pen out of my bag. I was like, and they got him. He told the teacher, and I think I got told off. But that was a good gadget to have. But yeah, back to the fairground. I was waiting for that, and it took so long because there's loads of people watching all their mates. And I was like, I've had enough. So I went to the next thing, which was like you have to throw like a ball into like a
jar.
Yeah,
it's like a
metal sort of jar thing. And I only got 1 out of 4, and you're supposed to get. Well, if you get 1, you get a little toy, and if you get 4, you get a big toy. So I got this like weird Squid Game / Among Us.
Oh right, yeah.
Slime thing.
It was pretty much like a Squid Among Us with like a Squid Game mask, right?
Yeah.
And you can open it, and inside is some sort of gel.
Yeah, I think it's slimes. I remember there was a trend that kids would have slime. I remember my cousins would have it.
I think that's thanks to Nickelodeon, probably.
Maybe, yeah, when they slime everyone. But yeah, so we went from that. We went to play. I think I did a hook a duck where I won an octopus thing. It was weird because you basically spend. It was like £4 or something, wasn't it? And you basically spend £4 to get a little toy.
Yeah, it was. It was a Poppy's Playground. It was like a octopus.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to. So we went with another friend of ours, which we've mentioned his name on the podcast before, and he had. We saw this toy and we couldn't recall where it's from, but it was actually from a game called Poppy's Playground.
I still don't know where that's from.
It's
but
I think it's one of the enemies there. It's like a scary looking thing.
But yeah, what game was it that you played? There was 2, wasn't it? Was it 1 or 2?
I played 2. So after your after your ball one?
Was it archery?
Yeah, it was. Did you do archery?
After you, yeah.
Yeah. So we did archery and
rigged.
Yeah, it was rigged because I feel like it's the recoil or it's just really bad bows.
I don't see it's the recoil because we didn't recoil that much where it will go so far up and so far right.
Yeah.
We didn't do that much.
But have you seen how good the guy was? Actually, I'm not sure if you were looking, but there was a guy next to you and he didn't hit the center, but he was hitting the target.
Maybe. I nearly hit the center.
Maybe I get the feeling maybe we weren't pulling the bow far enough.
Yeah, it felt a bit. Felt a bit like if you pulled it further for me, but it felt like I was gonna rip the whole thing off, and then end up hitting some random old lady in the head.
And we got a coconut each, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that coconut in a moment.
Yep. Then next, I think Carl hopped on the gun one.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that was before. I think Carl went on a gun first because he never did the bow. And I remember he had to shoot 3 targets.
Was it the rat?
Yeah,
so he had to shoot the rat down. Yeah,
he had to shoot the rat down. Unfortunately, he didn't win either. I think he got 2 of them, but he didn't get the last one. He didn't get a really small one because the targets become smaller.
Yeah.
What did we do after that?
That was the one we tried to knock off the tin cans.
That's the last thing we did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing we did was the typical fair game. The stack of tin cans, and you have to throw a beanbag at it.
Yeah.
So we all had a go, but our friend had to go first, and he hit the Among Us plushie.
Yeah, I saw that. He wanted to win it so bad that he hit it.
The Among Us plushie instead of the cans. And then you went up next, or did I go first?
I went next. And I think I had by the end of it, I had like 3 cans
4.
left.
I think you hit 4. I think you hit one of the bottom ones, and everything else on top got knocked off. But obviously, we only had 3 goes.
Yeah.
So you had to hit each can at the bottom layer to win, basically. And I had 3 goes and I completely missed. So
yeah, I think that, to be fair, that one is a bit. It also seemed a bit rigged because the beanbags were quite. They had a bit of weight in them, so I know how to throw a ball, and I can be almost accurate. I wouldn't say like I can hit a random pole from a mile away, but yeah, that was, I don't know, the beanbag seemed a bit weird, and it wouldn't go the direction I thought. Because when Carl did it, I thought, oh, he's bad at throwing because he hit the Among Us and he hit that weird dolphin thing
at the bottom.
Yeah, and then when I did it, I was like, damn, okay, it's these balls. It's not actually us. Because I didn't actually see anyone else do better than us. Like I saw someone hit it as well, but I didn't see them do better than us and get a prize. I know that when we were there at the basketball place, there was someone that won that.
Yeah, I think it was also because it was it was irregularly shaped, the beanbags.
Yeah.
It was. It's like I don't know. I just felt like it was not a very common beanbag shape. Like I would assume a beanbag would be like circular, but that was more of like a. I don't know.
It was sort of triangular, but imagine it was like, to me it looked like a samosa that didn't have enough filling, and the filling that was in there was going down to the bottom.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, if it was a cricket ball, I would have hit all of them off, and I still would have had a ball to spare. But but yeah, that was terrible. We didn't go on any rides because we're a bit too old for that. And generally, I don't really trust fairground rides. Like, obviously, me and you have spoken about going to theme parks and loving roller coasters.
Yep.
Fairground rides are built within a day. I feel a bit
uneasy going on it. Yeah, I can understand that, but I think it's just more because it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's like
the biggest ones are like I think £80.
Yeah.
Because when I went twice, so obviously I went with you guys and I went with my cousins, and they obviously went on all the rides. I think the most expensive one was £8.
Did you go on any of them?
No, I'm not. To be fair, I was tired anyway because I'd been on the first day, and then I had work the whole day, and then no, I'm not that fussed with going on rides anymore. I used to love it so much. Like, I used to go on everything and anything. But now I'm just like, yeah. And the weather was a bit bad as well.
I can't remember. Was it raining? It was, right?
Yeah, for the second day I went. When we went, there was a bit of rain.
We left just before it rained.
Yeah, so there was a thunderstorm when I got home.
So we didn't mention the best game there. There was a game where we were walking. So it is our, I guess, we always do this. So it's a ritual whenever we go to St. Giles to walk down it once just to see what they have. And there was one point where we saw this a little fan, I guess, and on the top it said Call of Duty.
Oh yeah. So there was a shooting game literally called Call of Duty. When we first saw it wasn't that popular, so I was like, oh, maybe it's a bit rubbish. But I think by the time we come back round, there was a few more people, because we obviously snuck off to get some food, didn't we?
Yep.
Because the fairground food
is not good.
Dry.
Yeah, I hate fairground food.
But yeah, so a couple things that happened once we were done. So we were done. Our friend got some food, so I was like to him, oh, should we just sit down somewhere so you can eat that?
Yeah.
So we go to this quiet part. So basically, where the fair is, there's a lot of, Oxford's full of like little off-roads, right? That you can literally walk down, and most of the time it's quiet because people like to populate the main roads. So we went to this one that had a couple benches. So we knew that there was people next to us when we got there. So we sat down. What was it that you noticed? Because you noticed this before either of us did.
Well, so I saw two heads, because all I could see was a silhouette, because it was quite dark. It was like, I think we were behind cars and the shadows were being casted.
And it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark as well.
Yeah.
And I saw two heads being very close to each other, and I was like, what is this? So I looked at it, and I thought it would be funny to just tell Munu and our friend to have a look. Just to take a look. And what did we see? What did you see?
It was essentially two people just making out full on this random bench. Like, we walked into like Lover's Lane or whatever the hell it was. Like, our mate was eating a hot dog while they were eating each other's faces. It was just like, to be fair, what I saw, because I think the guy had very curly hair.
He did.
So all I saw was like Sideshow Bob strangling Bart Simpson. It was just like, that's what I saw. I tried not to look, and obviously I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable. Obviously they didn't even really notice that we were there, because why would they when they're occupied? But yeah, JB couldn't actually handle his laughter for quite a long time.
Because remember, I was talking about a joke before. You know, the Elon Musk joke?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about that first, and then I don't know, I felt very giggly. And yeah. And so we'll get back to that coconut now. So I looked at my prizes that I got the other day. So I got a random, what was it? What's it called? Playground? What's it called? That creature from the game? Poppy's Playground.
I got that random octopus thing. So I was looking at that, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got this coconut. So I grabbed a coconut. I was basically...
And you were told to remove the husk.
Yeah, so I was told to remove the husk, and they were saying, oh, it's so hard to break, and I'm not going to be able to break it. So obviously, as a joke, I pretended to flex my muscles and break it in my hand. It didn't work, obviously. So I was like, all right, they're saying I can't break it. So in my head, it was like, nah, I'm not going to be able to break it. I'm just going to, I thought, well, it was a bit quiet, I remember. our friend was eating his hot dog. JB was on his phone. So I thought, you know what, let's just throw it on the floor, see what happens. I launched it down, and in my defense, it wasn't 100% power. And all I feel is water come splashing into my face. I was like, damn, I look around, you both got wet as well. JB's phone was full of water.
Yeah, the best part, I think, what I found really funny is because I was like, wait, what's that? So I felt like my legs were really wet. That's what I would say. But then I looked over to Carl because I heard just like a loud bang.
Yeah.
And I looked over to Carl, and unlucky for him, the light was shining on him a little bit, so I could actually see the water, like the coconut juice, basically on his t-shirt, and then there was a lot, and I was like, oh no. Luckily enough, the couple weren't there anymore. Am I right?
Yeah, so I'd waited until they went.
Yeah.
If they were there, you lot probably thought it was end of a session for them.
If someone else was there, we could have that could have been a big fight. The annual fight in St. Giles.
So yeah, essentially from about St. Giles closes at 11. I don't remember there actually being a proper closing time before, but I think it might be because it gets a bit rowdy after like 9:30. Especially so I'll talk about, so I went twice. So I went with my cousins, and most of the things that happened yesterday, basically yesterday is the second day of the fair. So most of the things that were alright. We walked around, normal stuff. I didn't play any games this time, but my cousins went on a lot of rides, so I was designated bag holder with one of my other cousins who hates rides. And first thing I want to talk about is that there's this ride that spins quite fast. So it's not the one where you stand up and it spins so fast you can't move. You're buckled in with the normal over shoulder restraints. And you're sort of just spun around, and it goes. I think it goes a little upside down. I think it's like probably 150 degree tilt, more than 100, because it goes like spinning around and it tilts.
Okay.
So you're almost upside down. And it was going so fast. At this point it was like it had already rained, and it's so close to the trees. So it was weirdly at this point I was like, oh, that's someone's feet is actually hitting the trees. All right. So liquid fell on top of, like, it didn't really hit me. I saw it fall and it fell on the people that were queuing for this ride. So I was like, damn, okay, they kicked a lot of the water from the trees out. And then the people in the queue started screaming. Like, there was girls in there, so they were screaming. I was like, what are they screaming about? So I looked at my cousin, I was like, well, why are they all running away? Like, literally they were running towards the end of the line. I was like, what's going on? The ride stops. This is when my cousins are on there. Ride stops. My cousin comes out and says, there's someone puking. So we look over. Someone is literally puking. The liquid that I saw wasn't rain. It was sick. And it fell on the people in the queue. And they were all panicking. This little girl, I remember, that was on the ride, started crying because her jacket had so much puke on it. Like, they literally, her mum got whatever was in the pockets out and left the jacket. Like, I was like, damn. I've never, obviously you hear stories about people puking on rides. I've never felt sick after a ride, but this person, I think they must have had too many donuts or something.
Probably. With all that crap on there. There's a food you can eat.
So I saw the workers throw a bucket of water over the seats that were contaminated. That's literally the sanitation.
Nice.
And the next people went on without. I think some people would probably even realise someone was sick on the seat.
Well, what was the person that was sick? Did they see?
So I couldn't really find them. So, like, what I saw was like a group of people around this one person. I saw that they had their hood up, and I saw someone with a hood up, like almost crying or like walking off. And so I couldn't really see what they were, but I think they must have gone to like, finish off, because obviously in St. Giles there's rides take up a lot of the space, but you can sneak past the rides to get to like random bits, so they probably went past there. But I thought that was crazy. I was like, damn. what I thought was rain was puke.
Did your cousin were any of your cousins a casualty?
No, luckily not. But that ride, I think it made a couple of them feel sick. Because it literally is quite fast and it spins.
Yeah.
Like, my least favourite rides are ones that make you dizzy. Like, I like roller coasters and stuff, but the ones that spin round and round and round and round, I'm just like, nah. I'd rather enjoy myself.
I used to have that, but I actually enjoyed. I remember going to Thorpe Park, and I actually enjoyed the ones there. I think it's called Samurai or something. I actually enjoyed it.
I think Samurai is one of the ones I don't like.
I love it.
I think, is it Enterprise? The one that's a Ferris wheel that goes upside down and it spins quite fast.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, so I don't like that one.
I you know what I like about it? Let me tell you something that I like about it. Because it feels that it lasts for... You go on it.
Yeah.
So you wait for it, it's like a minute. You go on it, it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes of enjoyment for me.
That was the thing. So they're one of the £8 rides, the top tier rides, and my cousins were waiting ages. So basically when they went to queue up, there was no one really in the queue. But what we didn't realise, there's two queues. One left side, one right side. So they were letting an equal amount of people from each side go. So they waited so long, and the ride was literally 2 seconds. It will go upside down, like around as a swing. So it'll go upside down about 3 times.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah,
it's the biggest one.
So not the one that only holds 4 people per car. You know, it's the
one
other
on both
one.
Sides.
It's the one that literally spins like that as well as it swings. So it's quite common in theme parks. And I was like, I wasted like 45 minutes waiting in the rain for you guys.
Wait, that's a Samurai. Like that. I think the Samurai X was like that. I think that's what.
Maybe I'm not sure. I don't know what. I think only I know Storm, which is that big one. But yeah, then the second thing that happened, right? So we obviously were tired, so we're like, right, let's go home. And at this point, there's quite a few drunk people. There's quite a few. I don't know why this happened. So we were outside Itsu. All right, so my cousin went to Itsu, I think, to get gyozas or something. I'm not entirely sure what they were there for. And I was outside with one of my cousins, and my other cousins were near us. And I heard someone shouting. It looked like they were playing about. There was 2 adults, like fully older than us, probably about 35 to 40 years old. And all I hear is a slap. All right.
Okay.
Like a proper slap. I look over and I'm like, all right, it's gonna start kicking off. And my cousin's like up to my knee or whatever. So I was like, damn, I've got to get them out of here. And I look over. Basically, there's a chubbier guy and a skinnier guy. So the chubbier guy looks proper angry. He's the one that slapped this guy. The skinny guy was holding his face, and he was sort of smiling. It was like out of embarrassment. You know, when you're embarrassed, so you smile and you want to get the hell out of everyone's way.
Maybe he's a masochist. That's why.
And I was like, what is happening? Like, it was so funny because there was a third guy. He didn't know who to go for. So as in, like, the chubby guy literally stormed off, and the skinny guy waited like near us essentially. And so the third guy didn't know whether to go for the one that was storming off or the one that was near us. Not to fight, but like to comfort. And so I was just started laughing. I was like, this is typical, like, behavior. But when you think of St. Giles fighting, you think of teenagers to about 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect like fully grown adults to get into an argument and one of them just slap the other one.
Maybe it's just people get drunk. I think at that point it was like really late.
It wasn't, to be fair, I think it was about 9:30 because I went to get some food. My cousins went to McDonald's, and then we all went our separate ways. Essentially, we all got separate lifts from other people. Well, yeah, I was just like, damn.
Because that's about the time when we went, there was a fight down one of the roads.
Yeah.
Well, I assume it was a fight because there was a police guy and everybody else was running.
Yeah.
And I know when that happens, it's because there's something.
Yeah.
It's usually a fight, and they wanna just watch.
The weird thing about Oxford, that if you look at it, like if people look at it from the outside, they're like, oh, posh town, right? Posh town, posh people. Weird thing is when a lot of people get together, like we've spoken about Cairo Carnival before.
Yep.
When a lot of people get together, it's it's mayhem. There's a lot of fights.
Yeah, but that's everywhere now.
Yeah, but it's like you don't see it. Like a lot of people are in town anyway. I don't often see fights in town, but yeah, it's
because there isn't an event. Because I think when it comes to those carnivals fairs, I feel like there's a lot more people concentrated in a much smaller area.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, when you just go there on a normal day to town, it's pretty much just a day. It's a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so JB, you know who my favorite Marvel character is, right?
Yeah.
Who?
Black Widow.
No. It is the Incredible Hulk.
Yep.
If you look at my room, actually probably the boxes are in the way. There is a poster of the Green Giant himself. So what I'm going to talk about today is not really a film, even though there is an animated film version of this, and it isn't as good as the comic book itself. So what I'm going to talk about is Planet Hulk. Have you heard of Planet Hulk?
Yes, from what I've heard from you, but apart from that, no.
So we saw a glimpse of it in Thor Ragnarok.
All right. Yes. Okay.
But essentially, what it is that there's like an incident where Hulk goes crazy, and so the Avengers, I think it's the Avengers or the Illuminati, one of those two, they decide to send Hulk to a distant planet to be away from everyone. So their intention is for Hulk to go to this planet that's full of nature, where he can relax and chill and not be a threat to anyone. But Hulk, obviously, hearing the video, there's a video that plays, and so he hears that video, he gets angry. He's like, yo, you guys betrayed me, you made me go on this weird space moon mission, and then you're now going to send me to this far out planet. So he gets angry, breaks the ship, and so it crashes onto another planet called Sakaar. So Sakaar is in Thor Ragnarok. It's the one that Thor is.
That's a planet he meets Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he turns up to Sakaar, and obviously they're like, whoa, there's this green monster. So they get him to be a gladiator of sorts, as he is in Thor Ragnarok. And Hulk's like, to be fair, Hulk's obviously angry, but he's like, yeah, I can beat everyone. So obviously he becomes like the main gladiator, as he is in Thor Ragnarok. But what happens is a lot of the inhabitants of the planet are angry at the leaders, essentially the leader, basically.
Of what's this? The
Sakaar.
planet?
Sakaar, yeah.
Of the, like...
Planet.
Okay.
The whole planet. And so Hulk basically becomes the leader of the resistance. And so him, you know, Korg, the character from Ragnarok.
The
Rock guy. He is Hulk's buddy. And Meek, who, I don't know if you remember, there's that funny bit where he thinks Meek is dead.
Yeah.
He's also part of the crew. There's a race of people called the Shadow People. And one of those are part of, basically there's a few of them, a few of the gladiators that fight within this thing are on Hulk's side. And they take over the planet. Obviously they got the strongest, one of the strongest Marvel characters with them. So they take over, they defeat the sentient robots that the leadership has. So they have these weird, like, they're essentially supposed to be able to defeat any of the gladiators.
Okay.
So obviously Hulk's like, nah.
Ultron.
It's
the Ultron from where was that?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
It's more like what you would expect from robot, weird robot films. And so Hulk's like, nah, these things aren't going to stop me. So he defeats all of it. But obviously Hulk's a bit sad because he's like, obviously what you know about Hulk is that he thinks everyone hates him. Like that's what his like character flaw is that because obviously he brings destruction when he's angry to everywhere. So Banner obviously thinks, oh man, Hulk ruined everything, man. He ruined my street. Alright, so obviously if that thought from Banner goes to Hulk, and Hulk's then like, everyone hates me, man, everyone hates me. So this was still happening on that planet when he was their leader, and when he defeated them, he was like, I ruined your planet, like look at all this destruction I caused. Alright, but basically what happened was Hulk bled, So he started bleeding, right? And from his blood, nature started growing. So Sakaar is a bit like dry. Not a lot of nature. I think mainly because the leader of the planet takes most of it, and yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because it was portrayed in Thor Ragnarok to be like a junkyard.
Yeah, that. I think that was just a way of getting Thor to become a gladiator, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, so everything's going well for Hulk. He's got a wife, who he gets her pregnant. Everyone loves him. He's called the Green Scar, so it's a variation of the. So basically, Hulk has like a lot of
Personas.
names. Yeah, sort of. So like, one of the funnier ones is I can't remember what it's called. It's like Joe. It's like Joe something. Big Joe or something like that. And it's essentially Hulk as like a mafia enforcer in Vegas. And so this version of Hulk isn't as strong because he has quite control over his speech and everything. So he is able to beat people up without actually killing them because he's not as strong, because he's not as angry, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But they're very different versions of Hulk, where there's Grey Hulk, which is supposed to be like a mad one. Because I don't know if you know that Hulk was originally grey, so the first couple comic books, but because it was actually more difficult for printing to be done in grey back in those days, they changed it to green.
Interesting.
And Stan Lee apparently always wanted it to go back to grey, but the Green Giant essentially became a massive thing, that they had the Green Hulk as a different persona in a different sort of time.
'Cause now you associate Hulk with green.
Yeah.
I think it's like, Father Christmas. He's associated with red.
Yeah.
But that's because Coca-Cola made you think.
Yeah. Whereas the real Santa Claus is obviously he's a moody bastard. So.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so there's very many different versions of Hulk, and to backtrack again, do you know how sad Banner's life was?
Yeah.
How?
Black Widow died.
So that's obviously the events of Endgame, which massively overlooked Hulk's impact when Black Widow was dead. Like literally, you saw him get sad, and then afterwards, like, oh yeah, I miss her, and then that's it. This was his ex basically, and he still loved her. By the time that he flew off, they were still sort of together, weren't they?
Yeah. But it was weird. They weren't really developed, and then all of a sudden tries to bring her back.
Yeah. So essentially, what it was, Banner's father. I'm not entirely sure what his name is. It might be Bruce Banner Senior, but I might just be making that up. Was he used to work at this like nuclear place, and he went a bit nuts. So he thought working at this nuclear plant, I can't remember exactly where it was, meant that he was making his family ill, right? So he saw, when Banner was a kid, he saw Banner as a monster anyway. So he
didn't like his dad or what?
So
he didn't like his son.
He didn't like his son.
Okay.
And so he treated him badly. There are different versions, but there was like obviously versions that his dad experimented on him anyway, which is why when he was exposed to gamma radiation, he was able to turn into Hulk instead of dying. But essentially, he got so bad that he killed his mum. So the dad killed his mum. So Bruce Banner obviously had a very traumatic childhood, and then when he grows up, he gets a superpower, but everyone else views that superpower as a bad thing, almost, as in like there are obviously versions of Hulk where he's celebrated, but a lot of the time he's portrayed as like a monster.
Because he's too powerful, and there's not a lot of anything that can control him.
So Hulk's obviously more powerful when Banner doesn't control him, because it's Hulk unleashed essentially. When Banner has a bit of control, it's not as powerful, but he doesn't cause as much destruction. So in Age of Ultron, where It's Wanda, isn't it? Yeah, Wanda gets into Banner's mind and sets Hulk, makes him go crazy. He's obviously scared of that and all of that stuff. But yeah, anyway. So Planet Hulk. So Hulk's finally happy. He's got a planet that likes him. He's got a wife. He's got a great group of friends. So what happens is they're cleaning up the planet. They're trying to make it inhabitable for everyone. It was like a nice place. Planet Hulk, essentially. So they're cleaning it up. Hulk tells his mates, so his gladiator mates, "Oh yeah, go get this ship." I can't remember what they're doing with the ship. I think they might be trying to travel to get some stuff, or I don't know, maybe even try and get back to Earth or something. So they go off. They fly off with that ship. But basically, they go to that ship to fly with it. And while that's happening, there's a beeping noise, right? And Hulk realizes that the shuttle that he arrived in is going to blow up. And this was in the event that Hulk did do what he actually ended up doing. He was supposed to go off straight away and blow up and kill Hulk, essentially, so he never come back.
Yeah.
But it went off in this planet, killed everyone, including his pregnant wife. She charged a shield and didn't kill Hulk. So Hulk was like, "Bro, you like the Avengers. I was one of you boys, and you set a bomb that killed the only people that I loved." Right, so he's angry by himself on his planet, and then suddenly the ship comes, right, and his gladiator mates are there, and they're like, "Right, let's get some revenge." All right, so Hulk was called a world breaker, but he wasn't, because in Sakaar, he basically was the world savior.
Yeah, he built
But then he also thought, even though he said that it was Tony Stark and Mr. Fantastic's fault, because they were the ones that sent him out. It was also his fault because he brought the bomb here and he did break that world. So he was like, "Right, I'm going to become a proper world breaker. I'm going to take over Earth." So he gets ready. All of his mates, they make some weapons. He actually has armor. He has a sword. And it looks really cool, right? And this becomes World War Hulk. So it goes from Planet Hulk to World War Hulk, right?
Yeah.
And this is when you see Hulk in the weirdest possible way. So obviously, there's an uncontrolled Hulk, which goes crazy and proper strong. And then there's the controlled Hulk you see in like Endgame and stuff, which is terrible. But this one was sort of like a controlled Hulk.
A mix.
But
with this power of the uncontrolled.
A massive power. Because he was angry, like he was proper angry. But it wasn't really Banner controlling Hulk. It was still Hulk, but it was like this weird, smarter version of him. And so the first thing that he did, in Doctor Strange, there's that. I think is his name Black Bolt, the one that if he talks,
yeah. Black Bolt.
So he's living on the moon, right, with the Inhumans. So he's an Inhuman, and Hulk turns up and is like, "Right, I'm just gonna chill out here for a bit." Like, I think he's friends with Black Bolt or something.
Okay.
So he thinks that Black Bolt might want to join him or something. But Black Bolt's like, well, the person that speaks for Black Bolt's like, "No, we're not going to help you take over the Earth." So Black Bolt's about to speak. Hulk beats the shit out of him. Like, literally beats the crap out of him.
Yeah, so he always gets wrecked within like the first few.
So he's supposed to be this is the thing. He's supposed to be this proper powerful superhero.
Okay.
This Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, yeah.
His voice, obviously, it killed Doctor Strange, didn't it, in one of the multiverses. But Hulk's like, "Nah, if you're not on my side, you're an enemy." So he beat the crap out of him, beat everyone else on that planet, and he was like, "Right, okay, I'm going to Earth." And it essentially becomes an arena Earth. So he turns up on Earth. It's just after the events of the comic version of Civil War. So quite a few characters are gone. Thor is dead. There's not a lot of people on the same side. So imagine like after the events of Civil War in the films. So they're separated.
Yeah, two.
So in Infinity War, they're separated. So Captain America's fighting in Wakanda. Iron Man's up in, I don't know what planet it was. But they're fighting
Spider-Man.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but imagine that. But imagine such a powerful being turns up, and it's like, right, I'm going to take over. You're going to panic, right? Say you're just a person that's been watching this on the sidelines, like a pedestrian. You're like, damn, Hulk's here. How can it get any worse, right? So Hulk turns up, takes over. I think there's a lot of support for Hulk. I think a lot of people were angry because of Civil War. Like a lot of audience people, as in not audience, public non-superheroes. So a lot of people were in support, and he was beating the crap out of Iron Man, beating the crap out of Mr. Fantastic. Everyone that turned up got beaten the crap out of. So essentially, in the comic version of the original Infinity Wars, everyone turned up to this one planet and tried to fight Thanos, and everyone got beaten up, which is basically what it was supposed to happen. There was no army, essentially. In obviously Marvel, in cinematic universes, it's better to have armies because it looks better.
Rather than just a one-man army. Just Thanos just beating everybody up, basically.
So Hulk did essentially have his gladiators with him, and they took over. But there was Adam Warlock.
Okay.
So Adam Warlock's about to enter the MCU. So Will Poulter, the guy from Weird Millers.
The weird, no eyebrows, and his face looks like he's like one emotion. I don't know what you call it. I know what you mean. Though.
He's British.
He's I think Warlock was already teased, no? Adam Warlock.
Yeah, so in Guardians of the Galaxy,
that's the one. Right at the end of the Nova Corps or whatever, Nova Corp. I don't know what they call.
So I don't know if obviously someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is Adam Warlock they go to, and say, you can stop Hulk. Please help. And he's like, nah. He's like, I agree with Hulk. Like, basically Hulk is like, the Avengers are ruining everything. They're trying to control everyone. So Adam Warlock's like, I actually sort of agree with him. So I'm not going to stop him. So the way it ends, I'm not sure who it is, but they somehow get through to Banner, and Banner fights Hulk from within and controls it and turns back into Banner.
Okay.
So what the agreement was between Banner and Hulk on Sakaar is that it was too dangerous for Banner to be Banner. So Hulk, even though he hates Banner, is still protective of Banner. And so the whole time on Planet Hulk was in charge because he didn't think it would be he didn't think
it wouldn't be suitable for Banner to be Banner.
Too weak essentially. But then Banner takes control and it's like, right, I'm gonna he locks himself. I think it's sort of like, in the Avengers, the first film, there was that glass thing that they actually created for Hulk, but put Loki in. They had sort of thing like Banner walked into there and was like, all right, I'm staying there. And I think later on they come for his help or something. But I really like that arc where it shows the true power of Hulk, and it wasn't anyone that could stop him. Like there was no one turned up to help essentially because there was so much rift, and he was just like, right, I'm actually gonna, like Banner was like, I'm gonna stop it myself.
True.
And he just walked into a prison.
I think it's not portrayed in MCU as you mentioned.
No.
Yeah, but if they wanted someone to stop him, they could have just asked Thanos.
I do think I'm not that clued up on the lore.
That's a joke on the MCU because he gets beaten up by Thanos.
Yeah, but I'm not entirely sure where Thanos was at this point.
Okay,
like
he's probably chilling doing some farming.
But I really enjoyed that arc. It's probably one of the best comics. Planet Hulk especially. World War Hulk is a good comic, but Planet Hulk trumps it by a mile. It showed such a power for Hulk to actually literally take over Earth, and none of the superheroes on Earth were able to lay a finger on him. It was so powerful, but it also showed the fact that Banner was the one that can actually stop Hulk. Like the only person, where that thing is the only one that can stop me is me or something like that. There's a Bollywood film. I don't know if I've ever shown you a clip of it. There's a Bollywood film about featuring a famous actor, and it's about wrestling.
Right.
So wrestling quite a big thing in India, right? Like not WWE, like the Olympic sport of wrestling. And he basically, there's a bit where he gets really cocky because he starts winning everything. And he says the character's called Sultan. And he goes, the only person that can stop Sultan is Sultan himself. That always cracks me up because right at the end they fight. Basically, there's like a UFC in India, so they're trying to get big, and so they recruit. Basically, a lot of crap happens, and Sultan's retired and he's depressed and everything. So, but they try and get him back to get an audience for the UFC of India. I think it's like called Right to Fight or something, some weird thing. And at the end, like, it's in his final fight, and for some weird reason, he's fighting this guy, but that guy turns into the wrestler version of him from earlier on in the film, and he's like the only person that can beat me. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But essentially, that's what happened with Hulk. Is that Banner was like, nah, I've had enough.
So I feel like you have an affinity to Hulk because it reminds you of yourself in school.
What do you mean?
Huh? Would you care to share the story?
Which one?
The famous quote. The famous quote.
So what JB's alluding to doesn't show why I'm Hulk.
It does, because you are untouchable.
I don't know if you guys seen my Instagram. Obviously, I'm a big guy, and I was one of the bigger guys in school because I grew earlier, and I learned Kung Fu from a while back, so I was already like confident enough that if anyone started anything, I could defend myself. But I wasn't someone that liked to use violence. I never really got into fights.
Yep.
But what happened was, so it was weird, right? So even my recollection now is a bit hazy. But yeah, JB hadn't arrived yet. He was late. Like, you went in that lesson.
We were in 2 different classes. So our year was split into 2, and I had PE in a different
in the gym
in a different period than you do, or something like that.
Okay.
So I wasn't there, but however, our group of friends, some of them were present in when this event took place. I'll let you carry on.
So what happened was there was this other guy who was actually bigger than me. Like if you look at him, he looked as if he was bigger than me. He was taller than me, and he wasn't. I wouldn't say that he looked weak. I think he looked like he could fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. You know how it is in boys' changing rooms for PE. Everyone gets a bit rowdy. I had no intention of having a fight that day. But all I remember was that we came together to do some random pushing. This point wasn't a fight. We were both laughing at this point.
Yeah.
What I remember. I'm not sure why. I think one of my other friends, like obviously I had you guys and I had this other group.
Yeah.
I think they were doing something. So I don't know. Everyone was just making loads of noise, as it always happens in the boys' changing rooms. Because I always imagine the girls' changing room to be like a tea party where everyone's getting along, whereas our one is a jungle.
And it didn't smell like urine, right?
But yeah, so I don't know what happened. I don't remember hitting him. I remember it just being pushing, but he seemed to get the idea that I punched him. I'm not sure if anyone else turned up and did something, but he thought I punched him. So without saying anything, he punched me. Right, so this massive guy punching me, and I'm gonna brag a little bit. I felt like someone threw paper at my face. I was like, at first I was shocked. I was like, what the hell just happened? So I was quiet for a minute, and I was like, why did you just punch me? He was like, oh, you just punched me in the face. I was like, if I punched you in the face, you would know. Like, I was a bit cocky. You know me from school. And he was like, I think I obviously didn't want to get physical. So I was basically just like, if you do that again, I will have to beat you up. I think he said, why are you crying? I definitely wasn't crying at this point, but it's a common thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a common.
It's basically a way to like undermine.
Yeah, emasculate a guy to say, why are you crying? Essentially, and I was like, I'll make you cry in a minute, which makes JB. He loves that quote.
It's the best quote, and that's going to be the title of this episode.
So I said that in response to being punched in the face. And I remember winning that fight by not being violent. So I'm a very good advocate for non-violent.
Yeah.
Because I'm not someone, like, I'm a big guy, and people do view me as someone that is quite scary. I think when you first meet me.
Yeah, of course, because I think it's more of your demeanor, like because you were like quite tall.
Yes.
And you seem to be. Actually, now thinking about it, because I first saw you, referring back to our earlier episode with the cinnamon thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it's just when I didn't see you in lessons, and maybe if I just saw you on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you would be a lot more intimidating because obviously you're a bit taller, you're bigger, and I think that's just very common with anything.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people were. I think that's why a lot of people sort of stood back for a while, and then when they realised that I wasn't. So I think by the time this incident happened, it was like year 10, and I remember. I think year 10, I was on the rise. So in school.
You mean being taller? Or
no,
like...
as in rise to power. So I started doing a lot. So what I mean by that is I realized that I wasn't very academically inclined, right? And so I thought, but I really wanted to do well. So I studied a lot. I got good GCSEs. My A-levels weren't that great, but I realized I needed to do a little bit more to get into uni. Well, to be fair, thinking about it now, I could literally just gone to clearing and got into any uni because it's quite easy. But I thought I needed to do a bit more. So in year 10, I decided to change a little bit, and we had houses were introduced. So I started doing more house events. Like I remember doing public speaking, and was this year 10? I think it actually might have been year 11. Yeah, I think it was year 11 actually when this incident happened, because I was already on the way up. Which is why one of the reasons why I didn't actually fight as well was that
you chose to be a pacifist.
Yeah, I thought also if I'm on the way up and I'm finally doing good in school, I wanted not to get kicked out. Essentially, I was finally doing good. Like I was naughty year 7, 8, and 9. I was finally doing well. So yeah, essentially, I was doing a lot of events. I became a house captain in year 12 when they're supposed to be year 13, and then I become head boy in year 13.
12, 13, right?
13.
Oh, okay.
So so year 12 towards the end, when the old head boys would go, so they would leave, wouldn't they? So
because I think you were in 12 because I just remember you being in year 12. Yeah,
so you get. I got elected in year 12, and then fully took over in year 13.
Who were the? Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically my rise to power.
So can you guys see the similarities?
Yeah, Hulk took over 2 whole planets. I literally just became head boy of a school.
Exactly. For 2 years, 2 planets, same thing.
1 year, essentially. But yeah, that story always makes JB laugh when I say I'll make you cry in a minute.
Yeah, that's the iconic. That's the most iconic phrase of Munu's biography.
What I remember from that day as well, 2 things. There was one little scrawny kid. I never liked him really. He always got on my nerves. Came up to me and was like, I think he was trying to get me to fight him because he probably thought he could beat me up, and he was like, "Oh, you're going red." I was like, "If I punch you, you'll go inside out." So I knew that he went, so I just ignored him. I was like, I knew there were people in that room at that point that would back me, and I was like, I don't want them to get in trouble either.
Yeah.
So I walked off of that. But then the other thing was someone I overheard was like, "That's why we don't mess with him." I was like, damn. I was like, I'm not someone that likes to. I'm a bit like, I was speaking about Hagrid in previous episodes. I'm a bit like that, where I don't want people to think that I'm this super strong monster.
You don't want to like brag, or you don't want to show it really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just.
I don't want people to be scared. I don't want people to, especially if I play a sport, I don't want them to think they can't tackle me because I'm gonna get angry and beat them up. Like I want them to go full on at me. Like I will get my revenge, but not by beating you, by fouling you, like as it would happen in football. But yeah, I never wanted that perception where people were like, "Oh no, let's not mess with him."
Yeah.
Like obviously, I didn't want people to try and bully me. I think being a bigger guy in school, it was a challenge for some of the other boys to be like, right, let's see if we can beat him up.
I think that's just very common within that age, though. I think just to show you're the bigger guy, you're
like, even though I've technically had fight training in Kung Fu, I never really wanted to fight.
To use it, but it's more of just learning how to use it. I think I would have loved to learn, like...
the main reason why my mum basically sent me was to get me to be a bit more active. Because I didn't really get into football and stuff until a lot later in my childhood. So primary school, I wasn't that bothered with it. So I think because my brother kept going to football and cricket, I think she wanted me to do something
else, yeah.
And I was doing it for about 8 years.
I wish my parents were like that. They were like, no, stay at home, play some games.
But yeah, so now you've learned that I'm a Kung Fu master.
Yeah. What belt did you get?
So we didn't really get graded that often. I remember when I started to leave, so I left before I started my GCSEs. So I think I left like year 9, because I think we did GCSEs year 10 and 11 back then. I know that now they do it all in year 11. So we started, I think we did like 2 tests, and I passed both those tests, and I think, I'm not sure how the belt system worked, but I remember the first one was gold, and then the second one we got to red.
Okay.
I wasn't that fussed with the grading. I didn't care about belts.
It was just doing the thing.
Yeah, because let's say, I don't know, John gets the black belt. I don't go for any tests. We have a fight. I beat the crap out of him. It doesn't. Being a black belt to me only shows that you.
It's a qualification.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually, I guess, quantify how good you are.
Yeah.
It's just a qualification to say, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do that.
Like, I know a lot of historical facts, but I don't have a degree in history, and I can't, obviously won't be able to teach it, but I know a lot of history. But yeah, so that's essentially Planet Hulk turning into Munu's Kung Fu mastery. We've actually gone over an hour.
Okay, good. Before we end it, actually we're looking to do the outro. I've got a question. There's 2 people fighting, right?
Yeah.
One is the Hulk, and one is Hagrid. Who would you back up?
Well, this is the thing, right?
That's just you backing yourself.
My different variations. What I would say is that Hulk would destroy Hagrid, so I would back Hagrid because 2v1, I would get destroyed by the Hulk, but I got to back the underdog. Cool,
that's good.
Rocky Balboa and all that.
Become the
underdog. But yeah, definitely Hagrid would be destroyed. Even though if Hagrid went 1-on-1 with Voldemort in a punch up. Well, actually, imagine there was no magic at one point. Imagine magic randomly ran out.
Yep.
Hagrid would have destroyed Voldemort and his army just
easily, by just him. Yeah.
But yeah, Hulk would destroy most people. But yeah, so we're at the end of the 10th episode.
Oh.
So we've officially done 10. Yeah.
What do I get? Can you take me out to Nando's?
Nando's?
Yeah.
What are we going for? Extra hot chicken fries? Yeah. But yeah, I've enjoyed the last 10. Currently speaking, we've only just got a limited amount of people that listen. But I'm still enjoying it. I still think we're going to carry on. We're hoping to get to at least, I think, a year, maybe it depends how it goes.
No, I think it's going to be more long than that.
Essentially what we're doing is, as we've mentioned before, we're just having our normal chats, but recorded. But yeah, if you guys obviously want us to carry on, we're willing to carry on as long as you want us. And remember to follow us, like us, subscribe to us, all that mumbo jumbo,
and listen to us every week.
Yeah, obviously once we get a following, we might actually go back to trying to do videos.
And we'll upload it. I assume YouTube,
literally Spotify has videos too. I'm not sure about Apple, but there's a lot of places that do video now.
We get enough, potentially maybe some live streaming.
Yeah, shall I tell me about one of the ideas I really want to do?
Okay, yeah, it's the 10th episode.
So if we do get a following, what I would love to do is a Halloween special, which doesn't seem that likely because it's in a month. I forgot it's in a month now. Where we actually like book out like a haunted asylum or hospital or something.
I didn't sign up to this.
We do a live stream, and obviously if we do have like a good following, it would be good to have people come with us as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I think that'd be interesting.
But obviously that all depends on whether we've got enough people to watch a live stream.
And we'll also need some equipment. I don't think we have sufficient equipment to do that.
Essentially what I was thinking with that is literally we can just use our phone. If we're going to live stream, we can do a live stream on Instagram and it will be recorded.
Okay, fair.
So yeah, obviously I've seen a lot of other podcasts like the thing with us is obviously we're nobodies essentially in a world of internet.
Yeah.
A lot of the podcasts I listen to, there's only a few that I've actually listened to that are
new,
non-famous people.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So a lot of the ones I've had, like there's comedians like Ramesh Ranganathan has one with Tom Davies, who's another British comedian.
Yep.
They've actually gone to do like
specials and
extra
things. Yeah, they
book out a stage.
Yeah.
So what would be cool is if we were able to get to that point, but obviously that's a long way away.
Yeah, probably like 10 years time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we've only at time of this recording we've only released 4 episodes. Tomorrow in this timeline, obviously the listeners are going to have a completely different timeline because this is episode 10, which will be released actually after Halloween, so they won't actually listen to this before Halloween. Yeah. So what we're thinking, obviously episode 5, which is going to be released tomorrow, we think is one of the best ones we recorded, and we're hoping that might make it a little bit above a radar sort of thing. We're obviously not sure. We're going to keep going though. I'm enjoying this currently. It's a chance to hang out with JB.
Yeah.
Even though we did anyway, but we normally just ate food. But
that's my favourite.
But yeah, we're trying to
cut down.
Yeah. But yeah, so if obviously get in touch with us. We are open.
Let us know your thoughts. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what we could improve on, and that would be very helpful.
Yeah. So we've got Instagram and Twitter, which are both at 2men1beard. Our email address is 2men1beard@gmail.com. Which we are welcome to have emails from anyone, really.
Yep.
Obviously don't send us weird things. I'm hoping we don't get any weird
things.
Yeah. But yeah, we're hopefully by the time this releases, we would have done a Halloween special. But I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Any final words, JB?
No. That's good.
That's good. Yeah. Excellent.
Wait, actually, final words.
Yeah.
I'll make you cry in a minute. Anyway, that's it for episode 10, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.